We can never get away from the Final Fantasy series, eh? Give me just a second, and I will be ready to begin. Just gotta make sure some things are good to go. So, for those who are wondering, what the heck is the Voidex? Well, the Voidex is a series where I'm gonna take an in-depth look at a game, so whatever it may be, and we're just gonna go through and see everything that we can see. Now, there's no guarantee that I'm going to be able to do this 100% for every single thing I do, because some things are a little bit harder to do that with. I'm not gonna lie. For example, Final Fantasy 3, I'm probably not going to be able to show off all the enemies because I have to do another game in order to get the enemies that I missed. So that's just some of the things that's gonna happen. Anyways, welcome, Voidelings. I am the expert, the master, disaster, the one and only Void Seer, Scrolla, and we are here with Voidex, starting with Final Fantasy 1. So, why don't we take a quick look at the gameplay, shall we? So, the thing about Final Fantasy 1. Each version of Final Fantasy 1 is a little bit different with the gameplay. For example, if we take a look at the menu is quite different from game to game. Let me check and see if I can find menu. So we're gonna take a quick look, and I will show you this in just a second. Let me make sure that I have everything. Where is it? It's right here. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure that this is actually how it's supposed to be. There we go. Make sure everything is as it should be. Is everything as it should be? Yes. So I'm gonna show you this over here. Make sure this is, in the right spot. So here's some of the menu stuff. You saw the Pixel Remaster. I am dropping frames today. That is more than likely YouTube backing up. So over here, we have the NES version. As you can see, lovely, lovely amount of space you have for items. I think about the items in Final Fantasy 1 is that you don't get very many items in Final Fantasy 1 in the NES version. The NES version has, like, no items whatsoever. You know what? I'm gonna take this out here for right now. So, if you want to look at, say, the NES version, you get a cabin, which is an upgraded house. I believe the cabin is supposed to be the tent. Maybe. But you have a house, you have a cabin, you get heal, you get something else. But you don't get very many items. I think you only get like 5 items. I don't even think you get like a soft or anything. I could be wrong. And then you look over here at the PlayStation version. Why is it a key? Why is it a... Oh. That's why. So over here, as you can see, you get a whole lot more inventory space. In fact, I believe you have unlimited inventory space in the PlayStation version onward. I could be wrong. I think you might have limited inventory in the PlayStation version. But if the Game Boy Advance version and later, you have unlimited inventory, which is really, really great. Because having such limited inventory really, really sucks. And in the NES version, whenever you pick up equipment they don't go into this menu. They don't go into a menu at all. In fact, they go to one of your characters. So your characters can actually have equipment on them that they cannot actually equip. And if all the slots are filled up, or you can't carry any more armor or weapons, you can't carry it with you. Which makes the NES version a little bit difficult. Not gonna lie, I thought about doing the NES version for the channel, but I don't know if I should, if only because, it's very hideous, to say the least. It takes a lot to get through it. Yeah, what is going on with my connection today? Again, you look at the GBA version, like the GBA version, infinitely more space. Actually, it's the same amount of space. You have infinite space. But you do get some extra items starting with the Game Boy Advance. You said the GBA and PSP version is not in the Pixel Remaster version. The Pixel Remaster version, I will show you the Pixel Remaster menus in a little bit. PSP menu, same as the GBA. Nothing really changes there. The Magic menu. So, the thing about Magic in Final Fantasy 1, in the NES version, you cannot get rid of spells once you learn them. Once you learn a spell, you're stuck with that spell, which is a little bit troublesome. Not gonna lie. It's a little bit troublesome. I think in the PlayStation version, you also cannot get rid of spells. I believe. In the GBA and later versions, you can remove spells from characters, so it's not as bad there, in all honesty. But the fact that in the NES version, and probably the PlayStation version as well, once you learn a spell, you can't unlearn it. If you pick the wrong spell, you're kinda screwed a little bit in that spot. And in the NES version, it's even worse, because there are bugs related to some spells. Anything that increases evasion, or deals with evasion and attack in spells like Focus, Gokara, Emperor Saber, they don't work in the PlayStation or the NES version. They just don't work at all. And Hilara, hilariously, is busted in the NES version. It acts like Hilara outside the battle, but in battle, it acts like Hilaga. So it's stronger in the NES version. It gets that later on, so it's not as strong anymore. And then we go down here to the equip menu. So this is where all your equipment goes in the NES version. It just goes straight to characters. And they get 4 different slots. So once you fill up all these slots, you can't take any more equipment with you. From shops, from treasures, it doesn't matter. You're just stuck with whatever you have. Now they changed that in the PlayStation version onwards, where it will go to your inventory. So you don't have to worry about that being an issue. And with the GBA and later versions, you have unlimited inventory, so no need to worry about anything. You can take 99 of whatever you want with you at all times. And in the status menu, so you can see that there's a lot more information in the PlayStation version compared to the NES version. You do get to see your damage, hit percent, absorb. I don't know what the heck absorb is. Is absorb even a stat in... You don't even really get to see, yeah, there's no hit percent, there's no absorb, there's no damage. You do get to see your evade, but evade is like, I don't know if that's like percent. No, that's not percent. Looking at the GBA version, I don't know I don't know what that is in PlayStation and later versions, but you miss out on those 4 stats, but you get information on, like, a whole bunch of other things. Oh, damage must be, probably a hack, I would assume. Why am I dropping so many frames? I just hacked this game fixed. Give me just a second, if you will. I'm checking a thing or two. Give me just a second. Right-ho. So, the Scouts menu doesn't really change a whole lot between PlayStation and later versions. It changes a little bit more from NES, I suppose. You get to see what's actually equipped. You don't have to go to, like, the equip menu in order to freaking see what you have equipped. So the row menu doesn't really change. In fact, I don't think the row... Well, there's not a row option in the, Is there a row option in the PlayStation and GBA version? I may have to take a look at that later. But it doesn't really change a whole lot. I mean, it's very simplified to the NES version, let's be real. That is the most simplified version of the NES... of the, row that you're gonna get. So, there is no config menu in the NES version of the game. There is no way to change your settings. Once you start the game, I think you can change it on the tile screen before you start a game, but like the, what's it called? The hat speed you can change, battle speed, but once you're in the game, you can't actually change that, which is a little bit of a pain. In the PlayStation version, you have, like, I don't know what that is, default system or custom? I'm dropping a lot of frames, I see that. I don't know why. I just fixed this not long ago. I fixed this a couple days ago. But, you can set the cursor. I think the cursor's always, you know... I think all of these options are the same. I don't think vibration is in any of the other versions of the game. Collections, that's from PlayStation onwards. They have been every Final Fantasy from PlayStation onwards. For Final Fantasy 1 through 6, that is, I should specify. Yeah, no, what's going on with my connection? Why is it acting up? Come on! I had this fixed 2 days ago. You were fine yesterday. And the day before. It was 3 days ago. Is it because... It has to be because of ISP speed gone. I got the GBA version. GBA version has a lot less in it, honestly. You can set your gas button to be on or off on B. You get your cursor, you get your... message speed, window color, and bestiary. Wow! The GBA version just has, like, nothing to it, honestly, compared to the PlayStation version. I think the PSP version just makes it so, like, oh, you just automatically gas. You just automatically gas. Other than that, it doesn't really give you a whole lot of different options. It gives you language settings, which, I mean, if you really need it. And if a PlayStation version, you get a memo save. Which is kind of like quick save, but memo save is one of those things where you use it, and then you reload it, and then it's gone. So you have to, like, do another memo save. I don't know why. Come on, ISP, what are you doing? Let me double check something. I'm double checking something real quick. It has to be the ISP. Like, there's no reason that this should be happening. Really? You're gonna act up today? Well, I just had all my connectors replaced, so I think it's just ISP being really stupid. The save menu doesn't really change at all. The save menu is always going to be the same. It's always the same. And as you can see, the main menu doesn't really change between versions. The PlayStation version has a memo about config. You have to save in the PlayStation version just like you do in the NES version, I do believe. But any other version you can save on the world map like in any other Final Fantasy game. So with that said, I am just going to make this go away now. And we are going to take a look at the Pixel Remaster version. And hopefully, the connection stops being dumb. So as you can see, you get to see all of your MP in here. In the GBA and PSP version of the game, the MP system is replaced with the standard MP system. As in, you have actual MP. You don't have the spell level or spell charge. The spell charge system is for the NES version of the game. So, whenever you level up, you get a extra level in like level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spells. Some characters cannot reach level 8 out. Red Mage, Red Wizard can never get to level 8. Only the White Wizard and Black Wizard can hit level 8. In order to recharge MP, NES, and PlayStation version, both versions of the game, you have to rest at an inn or use a tent or cottage in order to restore MP. In the GBA and later versions, you have ethers. You can still restore it by resting at an inn and using tent and stuff, but you cannot. Well, yeah. Why is it called Wizard? It's to differentiate from Mage. So I'll get that here in a little bit when I talk about the characters. I'm just going over the main game system overall. But, yeah. You only get up to 9 spell charges per level. So, once you run out those spell charges, that's it. You can't use anything in that spell level anymore. So, since there's like 0 in level 8, I wouldn't be able to use any level 8 spells. And this is in the NES, PlayStation, and this version of the game. This version of the game is like a mixture of a bunch of the previous versions of the games. It has NES stuff like the spell charges, but it has GBA stuff such as the ethers. So there's a few things here and there. It also fixes some bugs and stuff. Actually fixes like most of the bugs from previous versions of the game. All the spells work properly. The Peninsula power got removed. The whole Giants got nerfed. I believe that got nerfed at the PSP version. So, no, I think it got nerfed in this version. I don't remember if it got nerfed in the PSP version or not. And speaking of magic, as you can see, there's a forget option. So if you really want to make a spell disappear, you can just forget it. This was introduced in the GBA version. NES and PlayStation did not have this at all. Items. As you can see, you have unlimited items. You can get all the items of the game. If you really want to get every single thing in the game. And there are some items here that are not in the original, well, obviously, but not even in the PlayStation version. I'm getting really mad at my ISP right now. I don't know why it's dropping connections so badly. It should not be. So, items come from the GBA and later versions of the game. I don't think High Potion was in the PlayStation version. So, High Potion, X Potion, Ether, Dry Ether, Elixir, Phoenix Down. I don't remember if the stat items were in the PlayStation version. It might have been, but Remedy was not. I guarantee. These Onyx, I do not think they were in the PlayStation version. They might have been. They might have been. I think there's all of these, weapons. I believe every single one of these weapons are in the, original version of the game. So, I'm gonna go do something real quick. I just realized I don't have something that I should have. But, in any case, how does Cal get there? I'm thinking. But yeah, you have all the items. Yeah, you do get to keep all of your key items, it looks like. Well, most of them. You don't have your Rosetta Stone. But I believe a lot of these key items you just lose after using them in, yeah, I didn't give the guy an adamantite. Oops. Magic. Magic, we'll go over that in a little bit. That's gonna take a little bit to go through. Equip, it's the same. Oh, there's your accuracy and evasion. So you get all your accuracy and evasion in this menu. Actually, you get it in the status menu. So you do get to see your accuracy, you do get to see your evasion. They actually make it percent instead of a flat number, which is a lot better. Because it's just like, why would you make it a flat number? That does not help the player at all. Also, it gives you the commands, but like, the only time the commands even matter is, are you a mage or are you not a mage? So strength is your physical damage, agility is how fast you move. Stamina, I'm actually not sure what stamina is for. Stamina's always got weird stat in games. I don't know if that's resist against status effects or something else. Intellect is for magic. Luck is for critical hits. So critical hits are interesting in that in the NES version. I don't know if this got fixed. It might have been fixed in the GBA and later version. Critical hits didn't work the way they were supposed to. So each weapon is assigned a critical hit. But in the NES version, it's bugged in that the critical hit is assigned to the value of the weapon slot. So if like Excalibur is slot 63, the critical hit would be like 63 or something like that, instead of whatever value it had. So this means some weapons were stronger than they were supposed to be compared to later weapons. So something like the Masamune just wasn't as strong as it was supposed to be. Again, you can just order. There is no front row or back row. Configuration. So, this is where things are different compared to other versions. This is the same. Auto Battle, I believe, is new to the Pixel Remaster. I don't think this was in the PSP version. It's definitely not in the GBA. The default speed, this was around since PSP. GBA had it set so if you held the B button, you would run. Again, you get your volume stuff. And brightness is different, because brightness was not in any of the other versions of the game whatsoever. And it's nice that you can change each of the volumes of specific things if you really wanted to. And the graphics, you can make it have like a CRT filter, which, why? That kind of hurts my eye. Font style. You can change the font, not the original font, if you don't like this font. So, I'm gonna do that. What happens? So this is the original font style. Do you like that font style? Because I feel like that original font style kinda, you know. It's kinda like, Again, you can change background music. Back to the original. If, you know, you like the NES version. I prefer the arranged version, personally. Again, there's the bestiary. If you really wanted to, after you beat the game, you can't do it here, but on the main menu, you are able to fight some of these fights. So, I will show the bestiary. There is 128 monsters in the game. In the Pixel Remaster version, once you defeat a monster, it is in the database. Even if you, like, reload the game, don't save that file, it will be in the database. So, if you need to go do a new game and get some monsters, you don't have to save at all in that game, in that file. As long as you get the monster and kill one monster, it will be in the database. And the neat thing about the Pixel Remaster version is it shows you where to find monsters. If you really need to, like, grind for items or stuff, you don't really need to grind for items in this version. Now, as you can also see, it will point you to, like, the dungeon. Like, if they're in a dungeon, it will point you right to that dungeon. It won't say what floor they're on, though, which is a little bit of a problem. It's like, what floor are they on? It will never tell you. Like, if you want to look at War Mech, it gives you all of its stats, which, I mean, the stats is nice to have. At least, you know, don't use magic against this guy. And it gives you, like, what type is, like, it regens HP, it's immune to these stuff. And it says it spawns here. It doesn't tell you where, though, which is the problem if you're trying to fill out your bestiary. I got control settings. You can change what button does what. And boost, which is unique to the Pixel Remaster version. You can have encounters on and off. You can change your EXP modifier up to 4x, or you can make it 0 if you want to have a real challenge. Same with Gil. At some point, I might try to do a challenge run where it's no encounters, but EXP and Gil are set to 4. So that means I will only be fighting forced encounters and bosses with this. This also means that the final fight is going to be a pain in the butt. What are you doing, ISP? Why are you acting up? So that's with the configuration menu. I don't really need to explain the save or load menu. That is it for the menus. As you can see, it also shows you what crystals you have. So if you're like, what crystals have I not gotten? Well, you can take a look here, but like, okay, I don't have the wind crystal, so I need to go to the flying fortress. So, you can turn encounters on and off on the fly with the right stick. On the Pro Controller, in the PR version, in this version of the game. I don't know what button it is in the other versions of the game. Now, there's a reason why I'm coming down here. As you can see, the sprites are a lot better, too. The PSP version of the game has, I feel like the PSP version of the game has the better sprites. I don't know why they didn't go with those sprites. I mean, it's more of a homage NES version of the game, honestly. I don't know why I'm dropping so many frames. It's making me mad. So I'm just gonna give this guy this. So, even the animations look better in this version of the game. Like, look at how nice that Excalibur looks. Like, that is a cool looking Excalibur sprite. So that's gonna be all items in the game, by the way. And like, sometimes you can just, you know, you just check stuff. Like, the sprite is really, really nice in this version of the game. And the effects are also very nice. So if you're wondering about the save function, this is the save function. Hooray! Now with that said, I'm gonna do this. Let's take a look at magic. I'm gonna go to each place because it's a lot easier just to go to each place and look at the spells there. And the equipment, I suppose. Before we do that, let's talk about the characters. I should talk about the characters. So, there are 6 characters in the game you can pick from. You have the fighter, the monk, the thief, the white mage, the black mage, and the red mage. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. You're never gonna pick the thief. There is no skill command. That doesn't happen in Final Fantasy III. The thief is not very strong. He's fast, yes, but he doesn't really offer much for the party at all. You're better off picking someone else, literally anyone else, as the thief. When the thief upgrades, he does become the ninja, so he does get some black magic. I don't know if he gets black magic in this version of the game. I don't think Knight does either, but, he does get access up to level 3 black magic, I think. Either level 3 or level 4 black magic. And, he does get better equipment. He can use the Sasuke's blade, which you get so late in the game that, I don't know, man. I don't know. But, you're probably still not going to want to use the thief even for ninja. So much science, all the science. The fighter, who I did not pick this time around, is your heavy armor, brute force character. You give him all your heavy armor, all your best weapons, he hits hard. That's all he does. And he has the best defense, attack, HP, etc. out of everyone. Actually, that's not true. I'll tell you why that is. When he upgrades his class, he becomes the Knight. Better stats all around. He can use better equipment like Excalibur and more heavy armor. And in the other versions of the game, I don't know if he does in this version. I don't have access to the Knight at the moment. In the other versions of the game, he could go up to either level 3 or level 4 white magic. So, you can have him with, like, Cura and, like, Null Blaze and stuff like that, if you really need it. So, the fighter is a very good choice. He's always reliable for damage. Now, we look at the last of the physical fighters, which is the monk. The monk doesn't get any armor, really, ever. You can give him some weapons, but he's better off without weapons. Once he starts leveling up enough, weapons actually hurt his damage, so don't give him weapons. Now, he has very good attack. In fact, he has the best attack stat in the game. He has pretty decent HP. It's just that he has, like, no defense. And the Master, which is the upgrade to the Monk, if you get the classes early enough and level them up to their upgrade classes, you get even better stat gains. So try to level your characters up for the next jobs as early as possible. So as you can see, mages have, like, no defense. Apparently, monks... Oh, that's right. The masters have a decent defense without armor, because I believe I think their defense scales with their level, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say it scales with their level. If the NES version, it was bugged. In fact, it scaled with their armor, if I recall. And if you have special armor on, like, say, the ribbon, I don't think you can have the ribbon on. Can you have the ribbon on? You can have the ribbon on. So in other versions of the game, if you have the ribbon on, you can't get, like, the ring and stuff on too. But in the NES version, if you have the ribbon on and you level up, he'll gain the properties of the resist of the ribbon. So he'll have fire, ice, lightning resist and stuff like that. Which is like, okay, how did that bug happen? But yeah, the Master, high strength, high defense without armor, but he's still squishy, don't get me wrong, he's still gonna get beaten up. And he has pretty good agility compared to, like, everyone else. The ninja's gonna have the highest agility. Thief slash ninja is gonna be faster than the monk slash master. Hands down. So, if you want to go with with a glass cannon build, you're gonna use the monk. Now, you can run multiples of the same class, so you can have, like, 4 monks or 4 warriors, etc., etc. I would go with a warrior or a fighter and a monk for your physical damage, really. And I'll tell you why that is. So, white mage and black mage, they're your standard mages. White mage has your heals, your support, like, no blaze, no sock, cure, heal, stona, teleport when you get up to white wizard. They're the only ones that can use teleport. And black mage is for status effects and damage spells like fire, ice, blizzard, blind, dark, death. There goes my connection again for some reason, because I don't know why. Because the ISP is being dumb. But overall, you probably want to keep a white mage with you. The mages only go up to level 4, I believe. Wizards go up to level 8. So, you kind of want to have a white mage to keep you hopped off. You can use a red mage, but I will go over why you don't really want a red mage. Black mage is useful for big groups, but overall I find black mage to not be that great. Like, yeah, black wizard gets to use Hemper, so he can boost the damage of your fighter or ninja or monk or whatever. And they also get haste, so you get to double your attacks. But that's not all you would use Black Wizard for. Like, their damage output compared to, say, Fighter and Monk is not really very good. Because I don't think elemental weakness is a big deal in this game. It does exist. I believe it's bugged in the NES version, though. I believe it is bugged in the NES version of the game. At least the special weapons are bugged. I don't remember if the elements themselves are bugged. So, you would want to have, like, a fighter, a monk, and a white mage. At least those 3. The black mage, that's up to you. And the red mage is also up to you. Red mage is the jack of all trades. They're not, they can do a bunch of things, but they're not particularly good at anything. They have decent attack. You can use them for regular attacks. You can use them for magic. But their stats are lower than those that are better at. Now, regular attacks are going to be the weakest out of all of the physical classes, I think. Actually, I think it might be stronger than Thief. And their magic is going to be weaker than White Mage and Black Mage. And Red Mage can go up to level 4, I think. Red Wizard can only go up to level 7. And they don't get access to all the White and Black magic here. Keep that in mind. They cannot use teleport, they can't use some level 7 spells. So they're a bit more limited than the White Mage and the Black Mage, but they have a little bit more versatility. So it's up to you. Do you want to sacrifice Black Mage that has raw damage and can do haste and temper, or the Red Mage who is kind of just all around? That's up to you. And the Red Mage can use some of the physical weapons and armor. They don't get access to all of the physical weapons and armor. Like, they get to use some of the better, actually, I think they do get to use, like, all of the weapons that, the fighter uses. Except Excalibur. They do not get to use Excalibur. And they don't get to use shields. They get the usual mage shield. But they do get to use a decent amount of... No, these are the same gloves as mages. They do get to use some heavy armor. Not a whole lot, though. Rifle Mail is going to be your best heavy armor for them until you get these armlets later. And they don't get to use any of the helmets that fighters and ninjas get to use. So all in all, it's up to you to decide what do you want to do. Do you want to go with Warrior, Monk, White Mage, Black Mage? Do you want 4 White Mages? Because you can do that. The game is beatable with 4 White Mages. It's just, you know, pain. Lots and lots of pain. It's very painful. I haven't done it, but you can. Just equip whatever gives. Pretty much, that's what you do. But, that is the characters. Let's take a look at the spells. So let's look at the Black Magic. So at the starting town, you're going to be able to get level 1 Black Magic. 4 White Mage is that bad. It sounds like you've done that. So, of the 4 Black Magic spells, you get Fire, which does fire damage. You get Sleep, puts all enemies to sleep. Focus, lower 1 enemy's evasion, and Thunder, which does lightning damage. So, of all of these spells, Fire and Thunder are a must-have for Black Magic users. You're going to want fire damage, you're going to want thunder damage. Again, I don't remember. I think elemental resist are a thing in this game. In NES version, I think elemental resist were bugged, but in PlayStation onwards, the elemental resist are a thing. Yeah, the spells do work. So you can use focus and reduce evasion on an enemy. Would I suggest focus over sleep, though? The thing is, I don't know how many enemies are weak to sleep. And here's the thing. Enemies and the player can wake up on the same turn they're put to sleep. So that makes the sleep spell a little bit less usable, less viable. So focus might be more useful. So, you know what, hey, I don't know what's going on with my internet connection. I really don't. It has to be ISP because it's been going crazy today. And it wasn't going crazy the past couple days. Like, it was like no frame drops the past 2 days. Now it's acting like it was 3 days ago. Which it shouldn't be because I just got all the connectors replaced, so it shouldn't be any of that. So yeah, Fire, Focus, and Thunder. Those are probably what you're going to go with. For Black Mage, it's also easy. It might not be that easy in this version of the game. I'm just gonna be real with you. Now, if you want to look at white magic, your level 1 white magic is Cure, self-explanatory, Gia, which damages all undead, Protect, which increases defense, and Blink, which raises the caster's evasion. So here's the thing. You want Cure. Cure is essential. Now, because the white mage is probably going to be using Cure, you're probably not going to be using these other spells very often. That's one of the big issues with the spell charge system, especially for white mage. If they're using Cure all the time, you're probably never going to use these other spells. However, here's the thing with Protect. It says it raises defense. Now, the thing about raising defense, I remember using this in the final fight. I don't know how much this actually raises defense. So you know what? Why don't we go take a look? White magic. Actually, what we're going to do is Magic Final Fantasy. Again, I'm going to look at Protect. Apparently, all it does is raise defense by 8. It raises defense by 8. So that does not really seem very useful in the grand scheme of things. It's not a small number, but I don't think it stacks in this version. I think in this version it acts like proper Protect. Because I believe if you cast Protect on someone when they already have Protect, it will not stack. It might stack in earlier versions of the game. So Gia, I don't know if Protect's actually worth it in the Pixel Remaster. Maybe in the earlier versions. Maybe. Blink? You may be wondering, how much evasion does it give when you use it? What if I told you this increased evasion by 80? By 80! Now, I don't know what that means in the Pixel Remaster version. Because it says 80, that's probably for other versions of the game. And this goes by percent, so I don't think it increases evasion by 80%. I have a feeling that's not what that does. But if you're going to be doing like a white mage only challenge, you might be using Blink. And I mean, Blink in general is not a bad idea. Although it didn't feel like it did much against Chaos. But, you know, it's the final fight and all that. And Gia does damage on all undeads. You do run into undeads quite a bit early on. Now here's the thing. Again, all 3 of these spells are not bad. But can stack in the Pixel Remaster version. Okay, does it say how much it increases evasion by in the Pixel Remaster? Now, again, all 3 of these spells are very nice. But you're going to be using Cure the most with your white mage. That's just what's going to happen. So you're probably never going to get to use these spells very much. So you're going to be using Cure. The other spells are up to you on what you want to get. Do you want to get Protect? Do you want to get Blink? Do you want to get Gia? I would say go with Protect and Blink over Gia. It just raises, okay? So it goes by 80% then. So you're just gonna get 80% evasion then. That's honestly pretty good if it's by 80%. Alright, let's take a look at the level 2 spells, which are in Propica. I'm on the wrong side. I will always get lost in Pravica. So let's look at the black magic. So, here you get Blizzard, which does ice damage, so here's your ice damage. Dark, which inflicts blind to all enemies. Emperor, which raises one ally's attack, very important. And Slow, which reduces all enemies, the number of enemy attacks. So, let's take a look. What would you want to get here? Well, Blizzard is always a good deal. Blizzard is nice. It is also probably stronger than Fire and Thunder. And, you know, you want to have all three elements on your Black Mage. Yeah, I didn't think Blink stacked. Inflicting blind on all enemies does not seem worth it, in all honesty, because I don't think very many enemies are weak or blind. And status immunities are kind of weird in Final Fantasy 1, because they're split into a weird type of immunity system. I would have to take a look at statuses in Final Fantasy 1. Let me take a quick look. So in previous versions of the game, you can not really be immune to anything. Nothing's really immune to statuses in previous versions of the game. You can only resist it. If you can resist the element of an attack that inflicts the status, which just reduces the accuracy of the status. So yeah, nothing's really immune to dark. Just yeah, it's a waste of a turn, really. It's a waste of a turn. So Hemper is honestly a very, very useful spell. Let me take a look at Hemper. It increases one ally's attack by 14. By 14. Yeah, Hemper does stack. I kind of wish I would have done that in the final fight. Does it reset when a character dies is the question. I don't know if Hemper resets when a character dies or not. But yeah, Hemper is very good outside of the NES version of the game. It resets when they die, so that was the problem in the final fight then. Okay. But in the NES version, Hemper doesn't work. So keep that in mind. If you're playing the NES version, don't even bother with Hemper. It's a waste of a slot and money. Slow is, it tries to reduce the hit multiplier of all enemies by 1. I don't know if this stacks or not, it might. So this might be useful in some fights, but honestly, again, you're probably going to be using Blizzard to Hemper the most. Slow's better. Yeah, Slow is much better in later versions, in later games, because it reduces speed. But Hemper is very, very good in non-NES versions of the game. In the GBA and PSP versions of the game, it's kind of broken, in all honesty. It's kind of broken. So, Blizzard and Hemper are what you want to get. You can get Slow or Dark. It doesn't really matter which one you get. You're probably not going to use them. I would go with Slow over Dark. Because, Dark is kind of garbage, in all honesty. Slow reduces hit rate too. Interesting. What is going on with my ISP today? Holy crap! So let's take a look at white magic. Now, white magic. These are your level 2 white magic spells. None of them's really that great. So, Blindna, it cures darkness. I mean, blind is a bit of a pain in the butt. It is a bit of a pain in the butt. But it doesn't last after battles, I believe. I think the only status that lasts after battle is death, poison, and petrify. Yeah, blind doesn't affect spells. So if you're running a mage team, blind doesn't really matter to you. There is silence, which casts silence on all enemies. Again, this might not even be worth using, because I don't know how many enemies are going to be vulnerable to silence. In all honesty. Null Shock reduces lightning damage by half of the higher party. So, Null Shock is, a pretty decent ability if you know when lightning. Which is the difficult part. Who's gonna use lightning? I don't know. Because if you're playing the game for the first time, you're not gonna know who's using what. Like ever. Bro, ISP, what is going on? What is happening? Give me just a second, if you will. I'm gonna let this try to calm down. No, seriously, what's going on with the ISP? This is definitely the ISP. This is definitely the ISP being bad. Anyways, Null Shock. I would recommend getting Null Shock over Silence of Blindna. Silence of Blindna, not really worth it. Invis raises one ally's evasion by... I don't know how much, let me find out. How much does Invis? By 40, so it's half as strong as Blink. I mean, 40 evasion is not a bad deal, in all honesty. It's really not. So, I would say Invis and Null Shock, and probably Blindna, honestly. Not that you're going to be using Blindna very much. You're probably not going to use Null Shock very much, in all honesty. I'm going to be real with you. Null Shock is going to be used very rarely. You can probably use it in the final fight. But overall, you're probably just going to be using, like, Invis or something. ISP! Why are you being garbage? And you know what? Maybe it's because I have these settings set different too. Because I have it set to basically real time as opposed to normal. Maybe that's what's causing it. I don't know. Or it could just be the ISP being, you know, garbage. It's probably the ISP being garbage. Yeah, not many enemies actually cast spells. So let's take a look at the level 3 and level 4 spells. They're both here and now. High CPU usage? Shouldn't be. I'm at like 70% CPU. So it's not the CPU. It's just the Ethernet is, the Ethernet. I see the Ethernet with the send, and it's just fluctuating real badly. So that's telling me either it's the ISP, which is most likely the ISP, or it's something else on my end, which I don't know what else it would be. Because again, the past 2 days, it was perfectly fine. The past 2 days was perfectly fine. So, yeah. Alright. Let's take a look at the black magic. When you were on your phone earlier, one of the 4 brawls ended up. What do you mean? What are you talking about, hate? Alright, so, are these level 3? These are level 3. So, level 3 spells. Fire, which is AoE fire, stronger than fire, hits all enemies. If you're using Black Mage, and if you're playing the other versions of the game, the non-Pixel Remaster versions, you're gonna want Fire. Fire is key for abusing the Peninsula of Power. Because most things over there are weak of fire, assuming you don't die. If you don't die, you're good to go. Were they? You're gonna have to point that out to me, hate. You're gonna have to show me that, because that's not cool. Hold. Paralyzes one enemy, which... honestly, that's a waste of a slot. Don't bother with this spell. Status spells in general are not very good in Final Fantasy 1. They're really not. Thundera! AoE Lightning, so Fire and Thundera, you're both one. Both of these spells are very good. Volcara reduces evasion of all enemies. Now let me find out. Focus it reduced evasion by 20. Volcara is all enemies by 20. So if you want to reduce evasion if there's multiple enemies, I would go with Volcara. Again, if the NES version this is bugged, it actually increases the enemy's evasion in the NES version. So don't get the spell. Do not get the spell in the NES version. Fire and Thundera are what you want to get. If you're going to get Hold or Volcara, that's up to you. Yeah, you can use a Fire and Thundera over Volcara and Hold. So that's the level 3 spells. Well, level 3 Black Magic. By the way, here lies Link. Link is dead. Now, for the level 3 White Magic, we have Cura, which you're gonna want for your White Mage. This is definitely a must-have for White Mage users. Diara, which is a stronger DS spell. You're probably never gonna get to use this, even though it's not bad. Because you're going to be using Cura over Diara. No Blaze, which is halves fire damage. Honestly, it's not bad. There's a lot of fire stuff happening in the game. So No Blaze is honestly pretty solid. You would want this for the Mount Gold dungeon. And against Chaos, this is also pretty nice. There goes my connection again. And then Heal, which restores some HP to the party. It's basically Cure for the party. Which isn't bad. So, Cura and No Blaze, I would recommend. Heal would probably be the third spell to get. Diara's not bad, but as a White Mage, you're there to heal. You're not really there to, do damage to enemies. So Cura, No Blaze, and Heal are what I would recommend. And as you can see, the Red Mage cannot use some of these spells. So, if you're using a Red Mage, I will give the Red Mage, White Mage will have Cura, No Blaze, and Heal. And your Red Mage will get Cura and No Blaze. Now, if you want to have your White Mage do damage, I will give them a Diara. Yeah, I guess the only option is when you have them with the Masamune. But really, why are you giving your white mage a Masamune? Now, we're going to look at the level 4 spells, which are also in this hound. So, Sleepra puts one enemy to sleep. Higher accuracy maybe, but you're probably never going to use this. Let's be real. Now, the spell got everyone once. You want Haste. Haste is a godsend. It doubles one ally's number of attacks. Very, very powerful. Very, very good. It's just not stacked. But it is a very, very good spell. You're going to want this for your black mage and your red mage if you're using a red mage. Confused, which inflicts confusion on one enemy. Maybe all enemies, I'm not sure. I think it's just one enemy. You're not really going to use Confuse. Confuse and Sleepra, you're not really going to touch. Blissara, you're going to want. Because it's AoE ice damage on all enemies. It's Fire and Thundera, but for ice. Give me just a second if you will. Sleep might get extra damage. It's very situational. And again, keep in mind, paralysis and sleep, you have a chance of waking up or being unparalyzed on the same turn the status gets inflicted, so it's not very useful. So Blissara and Haste. The other two, that's up to you. I would ignore them for the sake of saving money. You don't really need them. And White Magic. So here we have Poisoner. If you're playing earlier versions of the game, you might want Poisoner. But you might also, you know, want to carry some antidotes with you in the PlayStation and later versions of the game. You're going to be using antidote. So Poisoner, you might not use very much. But when you look at all the other level 4 spells, there's not really a good selection. Yeah, you want this for later guns. Fear, all it does is it increases the chance that enemies will run away. That's all it does. In the Pixel Remaster version, Fear does nothing. Because in all previous versions of the game, they used a morale system. The Pixel Remaster version removes the morale system. So this spell does nothing. Every enemy has a chance of running on their own anyways. So do not get Fear. Fear is completely dug. No Frost is not terrible. This might be more useful against, say, Tiamat, Kraken. I don't remember if Kraken uses Blissara or Thundera. I forget. But it's not bad. It's always a good option to have. And you can focus on both a white mage and a red mage. So you have two ways of having ice damage reduction. Or throw it on one and let the other use like Null Fire or Null Shock. Box Cure Silence. Now here's the thing. You don't really see Silence very often. Silence is a very rare status, so the chances of you needing the spell is low. And Fox does nothing if the person is silenced themselves. Like, if your white mage gets silenced, Fox is not gonna help. So I would recommend Poisoner and No Frost and Fox. Like, honestly, those are the three, because Fear is useless. Don't bother with Fear. Fear is a dud. It does nothing in the Pixel Remaster version. Now, if you're going to go for your level 5 spells, they're over here at Crescent Island, or Crescent Lake, rather. They're up there. That is not what I meant to do. We'll talk about that after we're done with all of the spells. Level 5. those are not level 5. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I remember what the level 5 is. That's level 6. Level 5 is actually over here by Melvin. I was like, wait, what do you mean level 6? Right, you go to Melvin. They have the level 5 spells. So a lot of these spells you will not get on your black mage or white mage or red mage. A lot of these you're going to get on your black wizard and stuff. Or your wizards in general. So Faraga, yes, you get Faraga very early in the game. About halfway through the game, in fact. So Faraga, yes. Always get the elemental spells. If there's a Faraga, Blizzica, Thunderga, Kiraga, always get them. Those 4 in particular, always get. Always get. Make it a point to always get those. Yeah, you're most likely not going to have the money to get these on your first visit. Unless you're farming a lot down by, the elf town, I forget the name of the town, then you're most likely not going to have the money for this stuff. Scourge instantly kills all enemies. Not useful, really. Because the accuracy is probably crap. Yeah, the knight armor. We'll talk about the shops later. Teleport. Transport the party to the previous floor. Now, if you're not using a white mage, this might be what you need to use. But you're probably using a white mage, so teleport is not really necessary at all. So you could probably skip teleport. Now, if you're not using a white mage, then you might need teleport. But odds are you're probably not going to have the magic to cast teleport if you're using Faraga a bunch. And Slowra reduces the number of attacks from one enemy. Probably has higher accuracy. That's probably all it is. So for spells, Faraga, Slowra, teleport. Don't bother with Scourge. Not worth it. And I will soak this off since Hate brought it up. Yeah, you're most likely not going to have the money to buy everything on your first trip because there's this thing. If you're using a fighter, this thing is here. Do you need it? Not really. You can get better stuff. But this thing, yeah. Now let's take a look at the white magic. Slowra reduces hit to 1. Oh really? So it reduces it to 1 regardless. It tells me it reduces it by 1. That's what I see. It says it helps to decrease one enemy's hit multiplier by 1. It reduces hit to 1. It doesn't reduce it by 1. It just reduces it to 1. There goes my connection again. I don't know why that's acting up. It's honestly really mean if it's 2-1. Now, white magic. Again, Kiraga. You're gonna want Kiraga. Always get the Kiraga. Always. Life. You're gonna want life. So, here's the thing about this. This is really mean. It's like they have Kiraga and life on the same level. I wonder if they messed up on the wiki. I may have to I may have to investigate that. But yeah, so you have Kiraga and Life on the same level. Meaning, if you run out of spell charges for level 5, you can't use either one of these. It would have been nice if, like, Life was level 4 instead of level 5. That way you can use Life without expending, you know, charges on Kiraga and vice versa. But hey, you're gonna have to decide on which one's more important. And the NES version is even meaner because you don't have Phoenix Downs. Phoenix Down does not exist in the NES version. It starts showing up in the PlayStation version, I think. If it's not in the PlayStation version, it's very much in the GBA version. But in the NES version, there's no Phoenix Down, as far as I'm aware. Again, Dialga, if you were able to use damage spells for White Mage, this wouldn't be a bad pick, but you know, you have Life, you have Kiraga, and you have Healara, which basically cure on the party. So, Kiraga, Life, and Healara are what I would suggest. Dialga would be nice if it didn't take charges from these. Now, in the GBA and PSP versions of the game, you would get Dialga. Because in the GBA and PSP versions of the game, you have proper MP. So, yeah. Proper MP makes that more viable. But that means you would have to get rid of Healara or Kiraga, or Life, or Dialga. Which isn't really a big, I don't think you would honestly want to do that. Because having Healara is honestly still very, very nice. Yeah, the Dia line is very situational. It's more useful in specific situations. Like, you're here in this arc of the story, there's a bunch of undead enemies in this area. All the undeads are going to be around this area. Now, we're going to go to the Crescent Lake. We're going to go to the Crescent Lake. And we are going to go to here, the Black Magic. So, level 6 spells. Give me just a second. 1 second, if you will. Alright, I have returned. I had to take care of a couple things. Meanwhile, my connection is still being absolute trash. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna check that after the stream and see if it's me or not. Give me just a second, if you will. Alright, so level 6 black magic. What would we recommend? Well, first of all, you're gonna get Fungiga. Fungiga is a must-have. And if you want my honest opinion, that's all you need. That's literally all you need is Fungiga from level 6 black magic. Death instantly kills one enemy. Why? Why waste your spell charge on that for a chance to kill when you could just kill normally? Enemies are not very hanky in this game, in all honesty. You don't really need death. If you have a warrior or a monk, they're gonna do damage just fine. And if you're using your black mage with, you know, all the other damage spells, you're not really gonna need death. And Quake is instant death to all enemies, which probably means even less accuracy. Not really worth it. And stun is just paralyze one enemy, which paralysis is kinda not good. So you're gonna be sticking with Fungiga in terms of black magic level 6. What about white magic level 6? Well, we get some very, very nice spells for white mage. So, Stona. Stona is kinda important to the NES version because of Petrify being a very, very big problem. The problem is you get this after the dungeon where Petrify is the biggest problem. It's kind of funny. Stuns and slows don't work 99. Actually, slow is kind of good in some FF, so... In Final Fantasy VII, slow is overpowered. So yeah, Stona, kind of nice to have on hand. Exit. Oh, never mind, a red mage, or red wizard at least, can use Exit. So if you're running a red mage or a white mage, then you never really need teleport with black mage. It gets you out of the higher dungeon, so this is a necessity. Always get this spell. If you need to get out of a dungeon in a pinch, you want this spell. Always have Exit, and always keep at least one spell charge of level 6 for Exit. Just in case. For Hera, raises the party's defense. Is it skill 8 defense for, let me find out. Is it skill 8 defense? Oh, it increases defense by 12 to all allies. So it gives 4 extra points over Protect and its AoE. That's not bad, honestly. But Hera's honestly really good. And Eviscera raises the party's evasion by 40. So it's Evis, but for the party. So honestly, all of these spells are very good. They're all very, very useful. Exit is the #1 priority. For Hera and Stona, I would probably go with. I don't know how useful the evasion is, because it never feels like whenever I increase evasion, I evade more. You should be, but it never feels like I ever do, in all honesty. Now that's level 6. I'm pretty sure there's more level 6 somewhere else. Let's see if I can find it. We are going to have to go down here at some point. Let me see. I think that's an optional area. So let's check over here. So I think the spells, the level 7 spells, this might not have them all, but we're at least going to check them out. There's 2 level 7 spells. So, they're properly split up. We get Saber, which raises the caster's attack and accuracy. I'm gonna be real with you. It increases attack by 16 and accuracy by 10. So, here's the thing about this spell. You're using it on the Black Mage. At what point are you going to have the Black Mage use a regular attack? Let's be real. It's not that useful. Not for the Black Mage. You can get it if you want, but you don't need it. I think there's blind, which I'm going to inflict blind on one enemy. Just save your money. You don't need either one of these spells. Just save your money. Neither one of those are worth getting. Now the white magic, on the other hand, no death gives you defense against instant death. It's kinda useful. Now here's the thing. There's not that many instances of instant death in the game. There are a couple enemies that are a jerk about instant death. But overall, you're not gonna run into very many scenarios when you need no death. Like, I don't think any boss really uses it. Well, actually, Tiamat might. Tiamat might. But otherwise, like, you don't really need no death. This, on the other hand, Hilaga is definitely worth getting. It's basically a Kiraga spell on the party, or a slightly weaker Kiraga spell. So, I would recommend getting Hilaga or your White Wizard, because only the White Wizard can use it at this point. And with that, we are going to go all the way over to, right, the airships. The airships over here, guys. Remember where you park your vehicles. Remember where your vehicles are. That's very important. So let's go over here to Onric, or Gaia. Gaia. So more level 7 spells, I believe. Yep. Here's the other one. So, Blizzaga. You're going to want that. Make sure to get Blizzaga. Very important if you want to do damage. Break? I mean, it's not really worth it. I'm going to be real. It's not really worth it whatsoever. So you can skip break. Now, if you're playing the NES version, well, I think any of the previous versions, I don't remember if they fixed this in the PSP versions, but NES, PlayStation, and I believe GBA as well. Tiamat is not immune to Petrify. I repeat, Tiamat is not immune to Petrify. So you can seize that fight with Petrify. Again, I don't know if they fixed that in the PSP version or not. And the other level 7 white magic, Kiraja. You want Kiraja. Get Kiraja. It is a full HP restore and it's Esuna. Well, SNL doesn't exist in this game. It's a full HP restore. It cures a lot of the status effects. I think there's the odds in which you're not going to really use it. I actually don't even know how strong it is, in all honesty. But you're not going to use Gyaja. But get Kiraja. Always get Kiraja. I don't think there's anything else. Okay. And I believe these are level 8 spells. Alright, so I looked at this, and some of these spells, you're gonna love some of these spells. So I'll get that when we get that. Stop! Inflicts paralyze on all enemies. Don't bother with it. Just, don't bother. Just, Do not bother. Never bother with, don't bother with it. Warp. Instant death to all enemies. It's useless. 8320. I mean, that's not terrible, but it's not worth it. And kill. Instant death to one enemy. Here's the fun thing about kill. So, it will always work if the enemy has 300 or less HP. And it's not immune to instant death or resist instant death. If they have more than 300 HP, it will never work. If they have 300 HP, what's the point of casting the spell? Let's be real. They're almost dead. It's worthless. Don't bother with this spell. But do get Blessaga. All the other spells, don't bother with them. They're not worth it. And lastly, for the final set of spells, you must travel your butt all the way down here to Lufenia if you want the other spells. You don't need the Rosetta Stone for this, I believe. You just run all the way over here, and here's the... How did that happen? Oh well. So, Flare! Get Flare! Get Flare! Get Flare! That is going to be your big spell for, your Black Wizard. Get Flare! And lastly, Full Life. Get Full Life. Get Full Life. There is a sock I am missing somewhere. Nani? What? What? Where is the sock that I am missing? Apparently there's more in Gaia. So we're gonna go back to Gaia. There's more level 8 spells in Gaia. Did I just not see it? Was there another sock that I didn't see somewhere? Or did I just, like, overlook it? Did I not look at the... I didn't look at the white magic shop, did I? Oops! I didn't look at the white magic shop here. Oops! I just looked at the black magic shop and I ran away. Okay, so... let's look at the other level 8 white magic. My bad, guys. I apologize. So... holy... I would get Holy, but the problem is it's going to take up space with Full Life. And you're probably going to be using Full Life more than Holy. I'm going to be real. I'm going to be real. So, you could get Holy, but it's probably not going to be that useful. Know All reduces damage from spells by half. What it says here is it grants immunity to all status effects and resistance to all elements to one ally. So, it's good against statuses, it's good against elements, but it's also taking up spots from, again, Full Life. You're not really going to want that. And this spell, from what I understand, if a Pixel Remaster version, the spell does not work on the enemy, if I recall. So even if you got the spell and you weren't using it on, say, Chaos, which, you know, you would think you would want to use because it uses haste, the spell will not work on enemies, from what I understand. So I would recommend getting Holy and Know All. But keep in mind, Full Life is also level 8, and you're probably going to use Full Life more than you're going to use any of those. And that is all the spells. So, I'm going to show what I have. So I have Blink, I have Cure, and I have Gia. Gia, you don't really need, I just have it. No Shock and Blindna for level 2. Cura Heal for level 3. You can also get Diara, I guess. Level 4, No Frost and Poisona. Level 5, Diaga, you don't really need, but Hilara and Kiraga you want. Level 6, Axit, Stona, and Hera. Honestly, all of them are pretty good. Viscera is also a very good choice. Level 7, Hilaga and Kiraga you want. And level 8, Full Life, Holy, and Know All. But you're going to be saving all your charges for Full Life. For Black Mage, Fire and Thunder for level 1. Temper and Blizzard for level 2. Fire and Thunder for level 3. Haste and Blissara for level 4. Baraga and Teleport for level 5. Teleport you don't really need. You can skip that if you really want to save money. Level 6 you don't need anything. Skip level 6, they're all bad. Level 7, you can skip level 7. For the most part. Level 7 you want to get Blizzaga. Actually level 6 you want Thundaga. So Thundaga for level 6, Blizzaga for level 7. And level 8, Flare is the only thing you really need. You don't need any other level 8 spells. I would also recommend getting Slow Rock for level 5. So, Baraka Teleport is Slow Rock. Just keep in mind that you're probably going to be using Baraka over Slow Rock. So that is what I would recommend for spells. I would also recommend No Blaze for level 3. Where is it? I do have it, right? Yeah, No Frost, No Socks there. So No Blaze for level 3 I would also recommend. And Life for level 5. I don't know why Life is not on you. So make sure to get Life for level 5. Life for Kiraga for level 5 for White Mage. So that is really it for the magic. That is it for the menu. That is it for characters. There's a couple other things left to talk about. So let's talk about the items. We're going to talk about items the next time we do, because we're going to talk about enemies. Or we might get to enemies again. So there's not a whole lot of items in Final Fantasy 1. So, this restores 50 HP. You're gonna have this on hand almost the entire game. This is also an NES version, so this is in all versions of the game. High Potion, I believe, is GBA and later. I don't think it's in the Pixel Remaster or in the Pixel. It's a PlayStation version. Heals 150. Once you get access to this, you're probably not going to use Potion. X Potion doesn't exist until the GBA version, I believe. I actually don't even remember where you find this in the Pixel Remaster. I don't remember where you find it. Ether restores 1 MP for each magic level. That's for this version of the game. In the GBA, if PSP version, it restores 100 MP. Because remember, that uses actual MP, not spell charges. Again, Dry Ether is 5 MP for each magic level. All MP in the GBA and PSP version. These are not in the NES version. And they're not in the PlayStation version either. Elixir restores all HP MP, as an Elixir does. And this is not in the NES version. I don't think this is in the PlayStation version. Correct me if I'm wrong. So, it revives 1 KO'd ally. You're gonna want all of these. You always want these on hand. In every game, why would you not want to have a revive? If you don't carry revives, you're brave or dumb. And then Antidote, Poison, Blind, Silence, Stone. I believe only the Antidote is in the NES version. I don't think any of the others are. And I don't remember if they're in a PlayStation version or not, in all honesty. I cannot recall. The Remedy did not show up in any of the remedies from the GBA version. So, it cures everything except Stone and Cake. Why doesn't it cure Stone? You would think it would cure Stone, why doesn't it? That makes it less valuable. And then you have the Sleeping Bag, partially restores HP, MP, and fully restores HP and MP. Now, I believe there is the house, the cabin, and the tent. I believe the house is, what the cottage is called. If I recall correctly. And that's also how you save on the world map in the NES version. You cannot save your game in the NES version unless you rest at an inn, or you use the house or cabin or whatever. Which is a little bit dangerous. And then you have HP, attack, defense, and agility. These are not in the NES version. I don't even think these are in the PlayStation version. I think they're from the GBA version. And I'm actually gonna go and show some things that are in the other versions of the game. Oh! For consumable items, only the Potion, Antidote, Gold Needle, Sleeping Bag, Hen, and Cottage existed in the NES and PlayStation version. There you go! No Phoenix Down in the PlayStation version. Which is a little bit, pain. Also, the PlayStation version has an easy mode, which reduces the cost of items in shops. So, after the PlayStation version, all shop items use the easy mode shop list, price list from the PlayStation version. So they're more expensive in the NES version, which is good to know. So items that are not in this version of the game. Give me just a second. 1 second. I am going to show this. We do not need that. So, one of the items that are in this version of the game that is not... Well, that's not in the Pixel Remaster is... the Turbo Ether, which restores 150 MP. Apparently, the Ether restores 50 MP in the GBA and PSP versions of the game. There's also the Mega Elixir, which is not in this version of the game. That is GBA and PSP only. The odds of you ever finding a... Well, the odds of you ever... You're never going to find a Mega Elixir outside of that. There's also... field items, which are not in any versions except for GBA and PSP. So you have the emergency exit, which casts exit, which means you don't even really need it. Well, actually, you do still want the exit spell, so keep the exit spell. But these are nice to have. There's the apples, so the golden apple, silver apple, and other stat boosters that are in the GBA and PSP version. Guess which version of the game's the easiest? It might be the PSP version of the game. So there's all the stat boosters. There's also these items which do not exist in the Pixel Remaster. So you have the light curtain, the light curtain, which casts Null All on the higher party. You have the red curtain, which is Null Blaze. And then white curtain for Null Frost, Null Shock, Null Death, Haste. And then there's these versions which are in the PlayStation layer. Or actually, GBA and layer. So we see all of those. We've seen all of these in this version of the game, except the Fairy Tonic. The Fairy Tonic is not in the Pixel Remaster. And then you get your attack items, which are not in this version of the game. So Slow, Glisara, Farah, Thundera, Paralyze, and Petrify. So that's all of those items. So that is all of the regular items. Now with that said, let's take a look at the weapons. Oh boy, the weapons! So, again, in the NES version of the game, if it says it's effective against specific types like this, it is not in the NES version of the game. In fact, every single weapon that has a special effect against enemies doesn't work. I don't know if the elements even work. So, as you can see, Excalibur is going to be your strongest regular weapon. It can only be used by the Knight. Only the Knight. The Sunblade can't be used by all the other physical fighters, which is nice to know. The Defender casts Blink when used, can only be used by the upgraded classes. Interestingly enough, considering that, you know, you get Sunblade after Defender. But the fact that it uses Blink is pretty good, because you don't have to have Blink. Well, actually, you can't use Blink on anyone. So, Ice Brand can't be used by everyone. Flame Sword can't be used by all of these classes. These are the lower end stuff. Vorpal Sword doesn't really do much. I think Vorpal Sword was supposed to do extra damage against aquatics. I'm not sure. Mithril Sword, you know, it's a Mithril Sword. Razor can only be used by the upgraded classes. Even though it's very weak, it does cast Scourge, but like, who's using Scourge? And this is extra damage against giants, which, I mean, you don't really see that many giants. Like, at all. Longsword is just your standard weapon. It's just extra damage against dragons, but, like, all the dragons that you fight are so late in the game, this is never gonna get used. So, I don't even know what dragons you would fight early on. Like, at all. I don't think you can... I guess you fight the red dragon in, Mount Golag. But, like, you're not gonna use that there. That's what's strong against aquatic enemies. Wow, the thief can use this. It's a weapon a thief can use. As you can see, thief doesn't get very good weapon choices. Wirebush, like, all of these are the same attack base, basically just different, different effects. So, thief doesn't get to use that. Thief can use that. And then there's this... I think that's like one of the scarring weapons. It's almost a scarring weapon. Because Saber... Which, I like how the thief cannot use the broadsword. Rapier! Which is like one of the earliest weapons, I think. And then the Masamune. Oh boy, Masamune. Look who can equip it. The only weapon in the game that everyone can use. Why would you give it to a mage? I have no idea. I have no idea whatsoever. Why would you give it to a monk? No idea. I think this would be best with the thief or the warrior, if you're using them. I guess you could give it to your black mage, if you really need your black mage to do damage. And then the Sasuke's blade, which only the ninja can use. It's not really that strong here. Actually... yeah, it's not really that much stronger than the Sunblade. The Falchion, which, I mean, standard weapon. The Scimitar, which, very early weapon. The Cat Claws. I don't know why the Knight and Ninja can use this, but this is your strongest physical weapon for the Red Wizard and Black Wizard. You're better off giving Masamune anything that you don't have an observed weapon for, pretty much. Which is why I say probably the Red Wizard or Black Wizard would be the best option, because White Wizard's probably going to be busy healing. And then the Mithril Knife, which, you know, standard, the Black Mage and Red Mage can use it. Dagger, same thing there. And then the knife, same thing there. Iron Nunchaku, so you only get like 2 nunchucks. Now for the monk and the ninja, apparently, I don't know why the ninja can use it. You would use this early on, but after a specific level or time, these are going to hurt your monk. So you're not really going to use these, like, at all. So, you remember how I said you don't really need Giara? This is why. If you're fighting undeads, you can just use the light axe in battle. It's for the warrior, knight, and ninja, but you're going to be using this mostly for the Giara effect. So, it's honestly not going to be that useful, because by the point you get it, you're not going to run into that many undeads. All the undeads are basically around Cavern of Earth. And I guess the Citadel of Trials has some, I mean, you know. Mithril Axe, it's a strong weapon, but it has low accuracy. Same with this. The axes usually have high but low accuracy. And then you get the hammers. the Thor's Hammer. This is where you're gonna start using items in place of magic. So if you want to hit everything on screen, this is how you do it without using magic. It's gonna be a bit weaker than using the actual spell, but everyone can use this. And this is your big weapon for your white wizard. Like, it's gonna be mostly for your white mage. Again, you know, the hammer, which, yeah. And this casts Confuse, which, I mean, not really worth it. You're not really gonna use this. And the Crosier, you're not really gonna use at all. Now this, the Mage's Staff, it casts Fire when used. You can equip it in your Black Mage. You're probably going to want it on your Black Mage. Now, you're going to be using this a lot. It's a very, very strong weapon just for the Farah spell. Farah, I don't know what to call it. I'm going to call it Farah. Power Staff is just, you know, it's a whatever weapon. Same with the Staff. It's just a whatever weapon. They're early weapons. Mage's Staff, Thor's Hammer. Those are the two big weapons you want to aim for. And the Healing Staff is also what you want to aim for. You're going to use this with your White Mage. It casts Heal. So if you want to have your White Mage heal without actually casting spells, just have them use the Healing Staff. Every turn, just use the Healing Staff. And then Diamond Seal protects against lightning, only the knight can use. Aegis Seal protects against stone and poison, only the knight can use. However, no, it says protect guards. It does not give immunity. Apparently, if an attack passes its check on hitting, then the status will hit regardless, from what I understand. I don't know if this got fixed in the Pixel Remaster or not, but in earlier versions, if the attack has a status effect, and if the attack passes its check, it does not matter if you have something that resists a status. You will get hit by the status. It's kinda dumb. And then Ice Shield, which apparently the ninja can use. I don't know why the ninja can't use that. As for fire, and the flame shield is for ice. A bit of you know, oxymoron there. Mithril shield is kinda, you know, standard. This is for your mages. You want this for your mages. Because it gives you, it's your best defense on mages. And I think it increases your evasion too, if I'm not mistaken. Iron Shield, your weaker, these are your weaker shield. The Buckler you could give to like your red mage and your thief. I thought you could give it to your mages, I guess not. And then your helms, which are mostly going to be, you know, the knight. And then you get the healing helm. So if you need more healers, you can use the healing helm on top of the healing staff. Kinda nice to have, not gonna lie. It's only for the knight and ninja. You're probably not gonna use that when you have the diamond helm. Actually, you might use one of these on someone. And then the mithril helm. You know, these are very standard armor. Your starting helmet. And then your thing that's for everyone is your starting helmet. And then you get the ribbon. So, this gives you elemental and status resist, not immunity. So, you get half damage on all elemental spell and increased resist to all status effects. Again, resist, not immunity. There's no immunity to statuses in Final Fantasy 1. And then you get your armor for knights that are gonna resist elements. Then you get the Dragon Mail. Honestly, the Dragon Mail is going to be your best armor for the night. Diamond armor only protects against lightning. Dragon Mail is for fire and ice. 2 elements versus 1 element. With the same defense and weight. You tell me which is better. And then this is for, guard against fire and guard against ice, so these would be for ninjas, mostly. And then the Knight Armor. At 36,000, gil armor. I mean, it does give you a big boost compared to everything else. However, you will get, the Flame Mail or the Ice Armor in the next dungeon after, the Cavern of Earth. So you probably don't even really need the Knight's Armor very much. And then the Chain Mail, which Red Mage and the Red Mage can use. And this can be used by a lot of cast characters. So this protects against fire and instant death. Which is very, very useful for White Mage. It really is. And it casts Eviscera when used, so if you don't want to spend a spell slot on Eviscera, don't worry. You can get it through this armor. As long as you have a White Wizard. Well, you don't even need a White Wizard to use it as an item. If this casts Blissara. No! Guards against ice and time irregularities. So paralysis. I don't remember what else is time irregularities. It's complicated. But you're going to be using this for Blissara. And then, your crap armor. And this is your big arm accessory for everyone. You're going to want Diamond Armlet. You only get 1 Diamond Armlet in the entire game. Everyone else is going to be using Ruby Armlet. So give that Diamond Armlet to, like, your White Mage or your White Wizard. Make sure they don't die. And then there's your Silver and your Copper. So these are just weaker versions. Diamond Gloves. Only for the night. And then you get this, which protects against instant death. And be fair, you might as well get this for everyone. Keep the Diamond Gloves for, well, you don't even really need the Diamond Gloves. Protect rate for everyone. You're not going to run into instant death very often, but this is nice to have. I would recommend buying these. And Gauntlets. This is where you get your Thundera. So you can get one of each Ra spell, Thundera, Thyra, Blissera, and just throw AoEs all the time with 3 of your characters. While you have your big heavy brute like your Knight or your Monk, just beat the crap out of enemies. So, I would highly recommend getting these piece of equipment. And the Giant Glove. You remember that spell that I said was useless on the Black Wizard? Well, what if I told you can use it on your other characters for the Giant's Gloves? So get the Giant's Glove. Get the Giant's Gloves. Get these gloves. These are going to be your big bad boy killer for bosses. Take a couple rounds and use the Giant's Gloves on your big beefy person, while your Black Mage or Black Wizard or whatever uses Temper on that person. And make sure they don't die, and then go down. And then you get your Mithril Gloves, which, standard gloves, standard glove, standard gloves. Therefore, I like how the Red Wizard can use that, but not these. And lastly, the Leather Gloves, which everyone can use. And that's all of the equipment in this version of the game. So we are done with items, magic, menu, characters, spells. We're done with all of that in this version of the game. However, let's look at the GBA and PSP stuff, shall we? So, I'm gonna, Final Fantasy weapons. Oh, all weapons suffer from a critical hit bug. In all versions of the game, it has this bug. Okay. Alright, so let's see what is in the GBA and the PSP version of the game, shall we? So, what is not in here, as you can see immediately, the Mage Master. A lot of these things are in the optional dungeons for the PSP version of the game. So you're not gonna, you're not really going to get much use out of these. You can go to some of these extra dungeons early on, but there's no real reason to, in all honesty. I'm gonna be real. So the Mage Master, plus 5 intelligence, that's honestly pretty nice. It casts silence when used as an item, which, you know. It's almost as strong as the Cat Claw, so it's worth finding and getting for your Black Mage, or any mage, really. Well, Black Mage and Red Mage. The Gladius gives you hand evasion, which, I mean, that's not bad. Hand evasion for a mage is kinda nice. And the Orichalcum, which apparently drains HP on hit, which isn't bad. It's got pretty decent attack and accuracy and crit. Not that the crit really matters, but draining HP is pretty decent. I don't think it's gonna matter much for a mage, but you can. The Assassin Dagger gives some agility, evasion, and intelligence. And it casts kill when used as an item. Don't. Why? Why does it cast kill? That's not very good. And then the Lust Dagger, which has very high stats. It's for the Ninja Black Wizard. So, 20 evasion and agility with 50 attack is pretty good. However, do you see who you gotta get it from? Do you see that? That is PSP only. Let me tell you, you don't want to deal with that. You really don't want to deal with that. Chronogia is awful. In fact, the time you fight Chronogia, you don't really need these weapons. If you can beat Chronogia, you don't really need the weapons. So let's look at the swords. So we get all the way down here. Excalibur. So now we get to the dual rapier. So it gives 80 evasion. What the heck? Oh my god, that's a lot of evasion. 80 evasion? You will throw that on like your Red Mage or your Thief. That is honestly insane. Wow. And then the Enhancer, which is plus 7 intelligence. That's nice for your Red Mage. I don't know why you would ever put it on your Warrior or Ninja. You would use that for your Red Mage. And then the Braveheart. Decent stats. Cast Confuse when used as an item, which that's not very good. You're not going to use it for that. Deathbringer from Red Wizard. Cast Death when used as an item. You're not really going to use it for that. 5 strength, agility, intelligence, and stamina. Wow, the Red Wizard gets beefed up. Hey, you get beefed up in the GBA version. The Dark Claymore, which is for the Warrior and Knight, pretty high stats. Is it higher than Excalibur? It's getting up to Excalibur levels. But still not better than Excalibur. Lightbringer, also for the Red Wizard. This is the big Red Wizard spell, or weapon. No, it's not. I take that back. If it's GBA version, it's not the best weapon for the Red Wizard, but still good. Cast Holy when used as an item. There you go, Hate. Now you can cast Holy. Plus 50 evasion. What? What do you mean plus 50 evasion? Plus 7 strength, agility, intelligence, and stamina. That's a pretty good weapon, not gonna lie. Ragnarok. Only for the knight. It casts Flare when used as an item. You're not really gonna use it as an item. 30 evasion, which is really good. 7 strength, intelligence, stamina, and 3 agility. It's very powerful. You do have to beat Shinryu for it, though. That old bag of bones you have to beat. And then ultimate weapon for the knight, the ninja, the master. Oh, it's for everyone of the upgraded classes. So the damage it does is equal to the HP divided by 10. That's the attack and accuracy power. So if you have 999, then it gets 99 attack and 99 accuracy. That's pretty strong. Barbarian Sword, which is the strongest weapon in the game. It's for the warrior and the red mage. 18 strength, 13 stamina, 125 attack. That's very, very strong. However, do you see what you have to do? You have to beat Chronovia at her strongest. What is the point of doing that and getting this weapon when there's nothing else in the game you can really need a fight? It's useless at that point. Yeah. And then you get to see, let's look at some of the art, shall we? There's no art for that, huh? So look at this right here. Like, these art, the art is just pretty cool. Like, the Werebuster. That's a pretty cool looking Werebuster. And the rune blade is more like a sickle instead of a sword. Also, you know what? That worm killer looks like it would really hurt. It gets stabbed by in general. It's just like, it goes in, and then you slowly drag it out the person, and it's like, you're just sawing them to death, that worm killer. I like how Excalibur's not here. Why is there no Excalibur? Honestly, getting stabbed by any of these would hurt, so, you know. Katana. I guess these are katanas. So, there are additional katanas for, the ninja and stuff, but, like, they're not really that great. The Kohetsu is just, actually, Kohetsu's, I mean, yeah, all swords look painful to get stabbed by, with, I'm not gonna argue that. Kohetsu and Asura they're decent weapons, but you're not really gonna need them. The Kiku Ichimonji gives +5 strength, so that's pretty decent. And you get for beating a Kraken, so you do get a pretty good weapon for being Kraken. And then Murasame, which is what Hate said earlier, is only for the ninja. It gives 5 strength, intelligence, and stamina, reduces agility by 5, why? 40 evasion, and it's very, very strong. It's as strong as Excalibur, cast protect when used as item. But you gotta beat Omega to get it, so I don't know if it's gonna be all that useful, in all honesty. And look, you'll even get artwork from the Masamune. That's sad. What's the Masamune art? And also, Sasuke's blade looks so small. It looks so small. And then there's the nunchucks, which there's no new nunchucks. They're just nunchucks. Axes! We get some new axes, like the Viking axe. which gives you minus any evasion. Why? Why does it reduce your evasion? That sucks. Ogre Killer is strong against giants. Too bad you don't really fight that many giants. I mean, it does give good hack. The Rune Axe. Oh my god, guys. The Rune Axe is amazing. 3 intelligence. In exchange for 25 MP, all hits become critical. It does nothing if you don't have 25 MP, so like... I mean, it's strong, but you're sacrificing MP. And, most importantly, it casts Curaga when used as an item. That's really good. Just a free Curaga, that's really good. And then the Gigan Axe. 4 strength, minus 4 intelligence. Oh no, I lost intelligence. Return a monkey. Monkey go ooh ooh ah ah smack with axe. It's got good hack, but you're probably going to use the Masamune and the Excalibur over the Gigan Axe, I think. And then there's what those axes look like. They're axes. They're going to ask you a question, guys. And then hammer. The only new hammer you get is the War Hammer. I mean, I guess if you want, like, physical attack on your white wizard, I guess. Also, that Force Hammer doesn't look like a Force Hammer. It just looks like a, like one of those little pickaxe hammers you use for, you know, tiny little nails. And staves, or staves, you get the Sage's Staff. Cast life when used as an item. Very nice. Doubles damage caused by Holy. Very, very nice. And plus 15 intelligence. Very good. You're going to use this on your white wizard, more than likely. Judgment Staff. Cast Flare when used as an item. Very nice. Too bad you have to be Amos to get it. And plus 3 intelligence. Rune Staff. Cast Healara when used as an item and plus 10 intelligence. Not bad. You have to get... Oh, you can win it from Tiamat in the main story, so that's not bad. And then Golden Staff, which is just plus 20 intelligence. That doesn't seem very impressive. That doesn't seem very impressive at all. Why does the staff look so sucky? That's not a staff, that's a log! You're smacking someone with a stick, literally. And the crowseer just looks like you're taking, like... I don't know. And that's all of the equipment. Now, why don't we take a look at the armor? The armor. Final Fantasy armor. That would be the last thing we do, okay? We'll take care of the monsters next time. So it might be a short stream on that one, but we will take a look at the monsters. So what do we get in later versions? Well, the Genji Seal gets this. It resists poison and stone. Gives you 14 defense and 50 evasion. So that's pretty good. The Crystal Seal, which gives resistance to stone. It's weaker than the Genji Seal, though. The Hero Seal, resistance to all elements and scazes. So it's a ribbon for a knight and a ninja. Which isn't bad. You can replace their ribbon with something else then. And then the Sapphire Cape. Everyone can use it for the Monkey Master. It gives you some defense and evasion. This is mostly for mages. Elven Cloak gives you an agility and intelligence and 9 defense. And then the Master Shield You have to get this with Chronogia, so you won't get big use out of it. But it does give you, you know, agility, intelligence, and element and status resist. But you're probably never going to use it because you have to fight Chronogia. And that's what that looks like with Iron Shield, Flame Shield, and Cloak. And then the helmets. What's new? Well, you get the twist headband for Thief and Monk, and strength, 1 agility, 2 stamina. Not bad. Gives you a little extra oomph. The feather cap for your warrior, thief, and red mage. Not really that much, you know, stats. The wizard's hat, which is for mages. Not much defense, but it does give you 5 intelligence. And the sage's mitre, which is kind of nice. Plus 10% max MP. You can never go wrong with that. 5 intelligence is also very nice. It's a little bit of an upgrade for the wizard's hat. The black cow, which is for the thief. Resist his sleep, which, I mean, you don't see sleep that often, but it's very nice to have. 3 strength, agility, and stamina. It's a makeup for the fact that the thief is not very strong. Tiger mask for the knight, ninja, and master. 3 strength, 2 agility, 1 stamina, 8 defense. It's okay. It's not bad. A red cap. This is good. Hey, you get an upgrade again. 4 strength, 3 agility, 2 stamina, 8 defense, and 25% max HP. Not bad for the red wizard. Genji helm. Poison, stone resist, and 3 intelligence. Why do you need intelligence as a warrior or thief? I don't know. You're not really using them for that. It's not bad. It's not bad. The crystal helm. Stone resist, 3 intelligence, and has defense 15 evasion. Only for the knight and ninja. And most importantly for the thief, the sound mask, which gives 30 agility. So they're probably always going to go first. But it's very weak, so, like, you also have to beat Chronogia, which you're not going to do that. Don't bother with Chronogia. You know, I'm looking at that healing helm. How is that a healing helm? That just looks like a normal helmet. Lastly, body armor. There is the Bard's Tunic for everyone. Pretty good defense, honestly. And it resists silence, so you can focus on a mage, give him good defense, and silence resist. Red jacket for the thief, ninja, or thief and red mage. 24 defense, not bad. Resists fire, and gives plus 5 strength, plus 2 speed, 1 intelligence, and 4 stamina. Not bad. But it is from a later dungeon, so that might hurt a little bit. The Sage's Surplice, which is better defense, gives 5 intelligence, so this is better for magic casting. So you would probably use this for Red Jacket. Red Jacket would be more for the thief. Kenpogi for the monk. 28 defense, so you get good defense off the monk. And plus 3 strength. And Gaia gear for the black mage, so you get quake and stone resist. And very good defense. The light robe, which is the same defense for white mage, but it gives 5 intelligence. The power fest for the monk, even more defense with 15 strength. So yes, the monk does get even more broken than a PSP and GPA person. 1 agility and 1 stamina. Black garb, which is for the thief, 40 defense with 10 speed and 1 strength. So it's very good. Very, very good. Genji armor, which is for the warrior and ninja. Poison, stone, death, resist. 5 strength, 3 agility and intelligence, 2 stamina. It's very, very powerful. You can win this from War Mech. Good luck, though. War Mech is a pain. Crystal Mail. Blind Silent Stone Resist. 3 intelligence, 4 defense, and it's for the Knight and Ninja. A lot of these are the later optional dungeons, which makes them a little bit more, less valuable, I feel. Thief's Armlet. 5 agility, 3 defense, only for the thief. It's pretty decent. Lordly Robes with a White Mage. 37 defense, 5 evasion. Resist Stone of Staff. Stone of Death. 1 intelligence and 10% HP regen. You get HP regen, which is very, very nice. But you have to beat Chronogia. Survival Fest. You also have to beat Chronogia. For the Thief and Monk, 45 defense, resist sleep and poison, and 15 agility and stamina. Very nice, but you have to beat Chronogia. And the Maximilian, you have to beat Chronogia. Everyone likes Chronogia, right? 5 strength, 10 stamina, 55 defense. The strongest armor in the game, but you have to beat Chronogia. Have I mentioned how much I hate Chronogia? So, clothes. Look at all these armors. That sure is clothes. These sure are armors. I always love looking at the armors because it's always interesting to see how they look. Like that's a copper armlet, and that's a silver armlet. And gloves. Oh, we got gloves. Alright, so the Thief's Gloves. 6 defense, 10 evasion, 5 agility, only for the thief. Crystal Ring. You cannot get this in... No. You can't get this, never mind. Resist sleep, paralysis, and +5 agility. For the Knight, Ninja, Master, and Red Wizard. It's okay. It's better stuff. Like the Genji Glove. Resist Poison Stone, 15 evasion, and 9 defense. You have to beat Gilgamesh for that. Crystal Gloves. Resist Stone. Honestly, I would go with the Genji Gloves over Crystal Gloves. Because you get 1 additional resist. Is why. And then the Angel's Ring, which you cannot get ever, is unattainable. So it's the one bug item that's unattainable. Yep, those are gloves. And that's a giant's glove. Look at how goofy the leather gloves look. And there we go, everyone. That is all of the armor and equipment in all versions of the game. All items. So we are done with items, weapons, armor, magic, menus, characters. All that we have left are the enemies. That might not take very long to do clown gloves. They are clown gloves. So, even though it might not take very long to do, we are going to tackle that next time, whenever that may be. Just so that, you know, we can get that out of the way. It is almost time for the Nimmy stream, so for those of you who are gonna stick around, go check out Nimmy Nightmare. Go do it. She's playing Elden Ring today. Otherwise, this has been the Voidex, the very first episode of the Voidex. I hope that this has been at least a little bit informational. And I will catch you all on the next episode of the Voidex, whenever that may be. For those of you sticking around for the stream, tomorrow will be the rest of Urban Legend and Limbo, hopefully. Monday will be Devil May Cry 3, maybe we'll finish that. Tuesday will be Metal Gear Solid 5, and Wednesday will be Orphan 3. Now, hopefully the internet connection is fine tomorrow. I'm going to be really, really upset if this connection issue keeps persisting. Because that's telling me either something's wrong still on my end, or it's the ISP. And I'm guaranteeing it's the ISP. Anyways, I will catch you all next time, whenever that may be. Catch you all on the flip side of the void.